So you're going to elicit that blood oath, because remember, if they go and they talk to those 5 people, if they talk to their brother, mother, father, best friend, and their work associate, and they say, I just got into something, they're going to hear negative and get blown out. So you want to protect them by saying, you must promise to me that you will not go and talk to anybody about the business unless I am on the phone with you or I am with you in person talking to them. Do you promise me? Take a blood oath. Okay, promise, promise, promise. You will not go and talk to anybody about the business. Do you promise that? That is number 1. Yes, I promise not to speak to anyone without you present. This eliminates so many of the reasons and the issues that happen to you it's why you lose people. And so you get them to promise and say, I will work with you. See, I will work with you. And I will help you if you will promise, number 1, not to go and blab that you just got into a business with me and blow out all your friends, relatives, and neighbors. By the way, those are the ones that you, as the upline, can actually sponsor because you have credibility and they have access. Number 2, you're going to ask them to make a handwritten list. Would you commit to making a handwritten list of all of your friends, relatives, and neighbors and work associates and all of the people that you know? Yes, I will commit to making that list. Great, because I have one here for you. Or I'm emailing you a blank copy of MJ Durkin's list right now. Now, you have to understand that if you get any hesitation, if you get any reticence, if you get a person who says, oh, well, I can't do that now, oh, I can't think of anybody, you have to then take it away from them and you have to come back and say, okay, Bob, I'm trying to understand something. Help me here. Help me understand. We talked about you making the $2,000 a month, yes? Yes, you did. And you told me that you wanted to send your kids to that private school, and that's really important to you. Now put any why in there. You told me it was really important to pay off your mortgage. You told me it was really important to get out of debt. You told me it was really important to bring your wife or your husband home so that they didn't have to work at that job that they hated. Yes, it is important. So again, let's go back, Bob. If that's really important, remember what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to help you build a business to make $2,000 a month to get you that thing that you want. In order to do that, we need to make the handwritten list. And we need to make the handwritten list, quite frankly, we need to make it right now. So I'm emailing you the list. Let's go through it, and I will help you to make the list. This list is incredibly important. And if you're going to get my help to make the $2,000 a month, then we're going to have to make the list. Now, you could be doing this in person, and you take the list out and you put it right in front of them and you say, okay. Now, again, if you get any hesitancy, if you get someone who says, well, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know who will be interested, you've got to encourage them. And you've got to really, your selling is not done. You've got to recommend to them that they do the right thing and that they trust you and that they let you help them. So that conversation sounds like, Bob, I know you don't know anybody. I know that you're not sure about who would be interested. I know you're probably thinking you don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to bother anybody. You don't want to interrupt anybody, right? Yeah, MJ, yeah, that's exactly it. I said, listen, don't worry about it because I'm going to be with you every step of the way. You're not going to offend or bother anybody. I'm going to work with you to do it. Now, is your family close by? How about your mother and father? How about your brother? How about your sister? How about your best friend? How about the people that you work with? Who do you work with? You work in an office. Tell me about the people in the office. Who works in the office with you? You've got to see, people will not be able to access the database in their head, so you've got to help them. You say to them, great, take your cell phone out. Okay, you have a smartphone? Okay, great. Let's go to the A's. Let's scroll down through the A's. Don't prejudge. Don't think of whether they can do the business or not. Let's just get names on a paper. And by the way, if you're in your phone, let's go ahead and put their numbers down. Now, I know we're on the phone here, so you start adding the names to the list. Okay, you write yes, just Sam Jones, yes, Kate Winslet, Tom Cruise, thinking of names, Christopher Walken, yes, you have all these people. Okay, these are all the people that are in your phone, and you're writing them down. You're looking to get them to put about 20 to 25 names and numbers. You want to help them with association. So you want to do a free association thing like, who do you know at your church? Who do you work on committees with at church or temple or wherever you worship? How do your kids' clubs, soccer, karate, dance recitals? Who are the other parents that are there? Do you have any lists? By the way, do you have your computer? Are you in front of your computer? Yes, of course. Great. Let's go to Facebook. Let's scroll through your friends on Facebook. How many friends do you have on Facebook? Watch this. Oh, 650. Awesome. Go to your friends list, click on your friends list. Let's go through there. Don't worry about whether you think they'll be interested in our business, whether they will be interested in our products or services. Let's just get 25 names and numbers on the paper. You must encourage them. You must help them to do it. Remember, as we said before, if you don't help them, they won't make the list. I guarantee you, if you don't help them, they will not make it. If they will not schedule a time to make the list with you over the phone or in person, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you have found out that you do not have someone that you can work with. It's a sad fact. If they won't do it, if you keep asking them to do it and they put it off and they won't do it, if you get together with them and you take the blank list out, then you show it to them and they won't fill it out, they won't come up with the names and numbers, you need to say to them, Bob, here's what I know historically is going to happen. I'm going to have to remove you from one of the 3 people that I'm going to work with every month. If you can't make the handwritten list, then I'm not going to be able to build the business. I'm not going to be able to help you make the $2,000 a month, and I'm not going to be able to help you put the kids in the private school. I don't mean to be mean. I'm not trying to be harsh, but you have to understand that this process, I can only work with 3 people at a time. So Bob, here's what I suggest. Come to all of our meetings. Come to all of our conference calls or our webinars. Get involved in your back office. Go and talk to some people. Try to get some customers. And if you're ready to make a handwritten list, I'll be happy to work with you and see if I can put you back in as one of my 3 people to work with. But again, I can only work with 3 people a month. So please give me a call when you're ready to sit down with me and make the list. Do this very nurturingly. Do not be arrogant. Do not be mean. I'm not trying to napalm people here. What I'm trying to do is help you to find many relationship marketers say to me, tell me how to figure out who to work with. Help me find the leaders. I put all this time and energy into people. I train them. I'm training them all the time, and I cannot, and people drop out. I can't get anybody to stay in. I can't get anybody to do what I do. And this, I'm telling you right now, in this Ultimate Leadership course, this is absolutely the key. If they will not make the promise is usually pretty easy. The handwritten list is a different step. A lot of people balk here. They will show you a list that has 5 people on it. They will tell you they're thinking about it. They'll tell you they can't think of who should be on the list, and they're going to get to it. Every time you see them, you ask to see the list. I'm telling you, if they will not make a list, they do not have a business, and you have just learned the most important time management thing that you need to learn as a leader. You've heard, only work with the willing. This lets you know when they're willing, and it lets you know right away. It lets you know right away what's really going on and whether or not you should invest time and energy into Bob. Don't worry, because the next person you're going to sponsor, you're going to take them through the exact same process, and I guarantee you, you're going to find someone who will make these commitments. So let's assume that our person makes the handwritten list. By the way, if you're on the phone with them, if they've now made the list, because you're not sitting right next to them, I'd like you to say to them, okay, Bob, how many names and numbers do you have on there? I've got 25. Right, and we went through your phone. Yep, so most of them have numbers, yes? And we looked online, we looked in your whatever address books you have. We found the names and numbers of those people. Yes, I have 25, at least 25. Now, by the way, my list holds 48. If you can get them to fill it with 48, you absolutely do. If you're on the phone with them, what you do is you ask them to scan the list and to email it to you. So you can do this process by working with someone long distance. You can absolutely do this long distance. You say, great, you just put 48 names and numbers on a list? Yes, I did. Awesome. Now scan it and send it to me. And now we're going to find out if they really did it. It is very important for you to have a copy. This is another critical tip in the Ultimate Leadership course, which will blow your mind. And so many leaders never, ever, ever look at their distributors, their reps, their consultants lists. They never see them. They never ask to see them, and so they don't know the state of their business. And if someone's brand new, if they don't have a list, well, guess what? They're not going to build a business. So what you do is you say to them, great, I'd like you to email me that scan, and then you print out a copy of it, and now you can work with someone long distance because you have their list right in front of you, and you can speak very, very intelligently about the prospects that are on that list. You can actually say to them that there'll be people on that list that they would ignore and that they would not call, but because you see, John Jones, you can say, hey, tell me about John Jones. I don't think John Jones would be interested. He's my long-lost cousin. I haven't talked to him in 10 years. I saw him on Facebook, so I threw his name down. What does he do? Well, he's a former superintendent of schools. He's retired now, blah, 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 blah. And you're like going, wow, this sounds like a great person. I'd love to talk to them. And you'll know that. You'll be able to key in on them because they're actually on the list. And you've got the list. By the way, if they quit the business, if they leave the business, what do you now have? You have a list of 25 to 50 names and numbers. Remember, your biggest issue, if you've been in the business a while, is getting enough names and numbers. I don't care if that person leaves the business. You could easily call those people on the list and say, hey, I know your friend Bob, and Bob had given me your name as someone who's really sharp. He thought he was going to do a business with us, but he decided not to. But I wanted to talk to you about the business. It's not as good, but at least you have 25 new names and numbers to call. And I would absolutely use that list. Even if Bob is not in the business, you can still use it. Let's hope that Bob stays in. It'll be much more effective that way. Now, after you have the handwritten list, by the way, if you do it in person, you use most printers have a copying device on them. You copy the list and you have it with you. You can take it with you and you can absolutely, believe me, you will be able to manage your distributors, your reps, your consultants. You'll be able to manage them so perfectly, so effectively, with great time management. You see, again, most of us waste a tremendous amount of time teaching people the business without actually putting someone in the business for them. And so if we can combine those tasks, if you can actually teach, what I'm about to tell you is absolutely critical. If we can actually teach a person, and at the same time we're teaching and training them, that we're putting people in the business for them, we have accomplished two amazing things that need to be done. We've trained them, and at the same time we're building a business for them. There are so many benefits to that. I'll talk about that in a minute. If you have the handwritten list done, and Bob is committed to and has done it, then you are continuing to work with Bob, and you say, great, let's go to step number 3. Step number 3 is that we need to schedule a block of time where we can make some 3-way calls and to call the people that are on this list. Bob's going to be a little freaked. Oh, wow. Actually call him? What do you mean? So don't worry. I have a method. I know how to do it. I will walk you through it. It's no big deal, but here's what we need to do. Now, Bob, I noticed that it's 9:30 tonight. It's obviously too late to call people. We don't call people after 9:30 at night to talk to them about a business. And we've got a great chance tomorrow night. I have some free time tomorrow night between 7 and 8. And I have some free time on Wednesday between 6:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Do you have your calendar handy, Bob? Yes, I do. Great. How's tomorrow night work for you? I'm free tomorrow night. Okay, great. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to schedule this time. We're going to schedule the time. We're all right, number 3. We're going to schedule the time to make the 3-way calls. Very important to schedule the time to make the 3-way calls. Again, if Bob or Sally or Jane or whatever your distributors, or as a couple, if you sponsor them as a couple, if Bob will not schedule the 3-way call, if he says, I can't find the time, let's do it next week, I'm too busy for the next 2 or 3 weeks, stop the presses. Bob, wait a minute. You're not understanding what I'm saying here, Bob. Let's review. Let's go back, okay? Remember, you wanted to make $2,000 a month, yes? Yes, I do. The $2,000 a month will help you put your kids into the private school. Yes, that's important to you. Absolutely. Got to do it. Love to do it. Can't wait to do it. Great. Bob, if we don't schedule the 3-way calls, if we don't get it on the calendar right away, I'm not going to be able to help you build the business. And I'm going to have to take you out of that slot and put someone else in the slot. Remember, I can only work with 3 people at a time. I'm choosing to work with you. Again, reference what we talked about before in the beginning videos on this course. People want things they can't have. People need to know that your time is valuable and that you will only give it to them if they will play ball with you, if they will make the commitments that they need to make. Again, too many times you make it too easy for them. You make yourself completely available so they can access you at any time. Well, guess what? They won't access you because you're so readily available. But now, because you're making yourself scarce, you're saying, listen, certain people get to work with me, the big shot, okay? Look, you're the big shot. You're the expert. You have the ability, and you got to be really confident about this. Think about this and answer this question to yourself as you're watching the video. If Bob will get you onto 25 3-way calls, will you be able, with your confidence in what you know about your product or service, will you be able to recruit a couple of people for Bob? Will you at least be able to get some new customers for Bob? Will you at least be able to get some people to take some samples, get to a meeting, watch some videos, see a presentation? I know, I've talked to you in the field. I always picture you in very tall grass. I've talked to you in the field. All of you say to me, if my distributors, reps, or consultants would get me in front of enough people, I would be able to sponsor people for them. So again, if they will not schedule the 3-way calls, now maybe your business it takes more than a 3-way call. Maybe you have to get an appointment. Maybe you need to get to their kitchen table. You may have to require Bob to come with you on those appointments, and you will always require Bob to come along with you on the actual call, because and remember, I am not advocating. I'm not advocating that you in any way build everything for Bob and never expect him to be able to go on his own and do his own thing. I want you to make Bob self-sufficient. And I want you to think about this. If you call 25 of Bob's friends and Bob introduces you because he has access and you have credibility, and you talk to those 25 people, there is a very, very high chance that you're going to bring people into the business, that you're going to sponsor people for him. It's very, very important for you to understand that by scheduling those 3-way calls and you getting involved, you'll be able to help them. But here's the great thing. Imagine that Bob hears you talk to 25 people. He hears what you say, how you introduce the product line. He hears you introduce and tell your story about the products, how they helped you lose weight, get more energy, took care of your finances, helped you save money, whatever the products or services has helped you. If Bob hears that 25 times, what have we just done with Bob? We trained Bob. In the process, let's put Bob over here now. In the process, if we actually sponsored 3 people for Bob, Bob is excited, he has hope, he believes, and you've got someone to work with underneath Bob. If Bob all of a sudden quits or goes AOL or goes MIA or goes into the Relationship Marketing Witness Protection Program, if he splits, you have these 3 people that now move up to you. Is this a beautiful thing? It is. So many of you tell me that you're so demoralized when you work so much with a person, training them and teaching them, and then they quit and you have nothing to show for it. Does it sting? I hope it does. Look, we're friends now. Hopefully you trust me. You understand that I talk to all of the best people in relationship marketing and know all of the best practices. This is absolutely true. It is completely demoralizing to work with someone for 30, 60, 90 days, even a year, and then they quit. And there's no volume, there's no distributors, there's nothing in the downline. It's absolutely devastating, and this will eliminate this. It will completely eliminate it. Trust me, this will work. So as you schedule those 3-way calls, again, if Bob won't schedule the calls, then of course we know that Bob is not willing to work the business, and so we have to call Bob on that gently and nicely. Again, don't be arrogant, don't be mean. You're going to take it away from him and say, listen, I can't work with you. When you're ready to schedule some time to make the calls, give me a call, but in the meantime, I'm going to give your slot to someone else. I just sponsored a new person over in such and such a state. They're really great. They've got a lot of names. I'm going to put them in that slot, and I'm going to work with them for the next 30 to 60 days. Don't do it as an up yours. Don't be mean about it and you screwed up or anything like that. We don't want to make people feel bad, but we want to work with people that want to work with us. Number 4, the 4th thing that I want you to do is I want you to ask them for their commitment to attend whatever functions, whatever training calls, whatever webinars you do. Most of you have a weekly conference call. Most of you have at least a quarterly meeting. Many of you have a once-a-year convention, and many of you have Super Saturdays or some kind of Saturday trainings either every Saturday or periodically. Here's what you need to say to Bob. Bob, remember, these are the 4 things that you're going to do. Number 1, you're not going to talk to anybody about the business without me being present. Yes? Yes. Number 2, you're going to make a handwritten list of all your prospects' names and numbers, and we're going to make a copy of it and get it to me. Yes? Yes. Number 3, we're going to schedule time to make the 3-way calls, and we're going to sponsor you 3 to 5 people out of that, but you have to schedule the time with me. It's probably going to take 3 or 4 hours to get that done. You agree to that one? Yes. Number 4. Number 4. Here's what you're going to do. I need you to commit to attend the meetings, the conference calls, the functions that we have. Here's what we have. Every Monday night, we have a conference call. Let me tell you, my leaders are on my conference call. And the 3 people that I work with every month for 30, 60, or 90 days, those people are on the call. I'm going to need your commitment to being on my weekly call. Will you commit every Monday night at 9:30 to be on my call? Yes, I commit to that. Great, because if you will be on the call, you'll support the entire team, and that'll be really helpful to you. We do training on the call, we do recognition, we do motivation, and it's a great thing for you to be involved in. And also, when we start sponsoring people for you, we're going to ask them to make the same commitment, so it makes sense that you be on the call. Yes? Yes. Great. Listen, every quarter, we have a Super Saturday training. It's the downtown hotel down in downtown at the local hotel. It's usually from 9 in the morning on Saturday till 2 in the afternoon. The people that I work with, these 3 people, they all attend that function. Can you commit every quarter to coming to a Saturday meeting? Yes, I can. Great. So now you know, and you've up front. See, I don't want you now chasing Bob 3 months from now saying, hey Bob, guess what? The corporation's coming to town. They've got some great speakers. It's going to be awesome. You need to come. Well, I'm busy. Well, I can't make it. Well, I don't know if it's that important. Well, it's going to be a nice Saturday. It's in June. I don't want to go. If that's the kind of stuff that you hear, then you know that you have someone who's not going to build the business. Leaders attend the functions. Leaders attend your calls, and you need to get that commitment up front. Now, of course, they could weasel out, but if they do weasel out 3 months from now, when the Super Saturday comes along, what do you say to them? Class, you say, hey Bob, remember we talked about 3 months ago that in order for me to work with you and to get you the $2,000 a month, is that important to you? Yes. Getting the kids to the private school, is that important to you? Yes. Bob, if you don't attend the Saturday function, I can't work with you. I can't get you to the goal. Did you want me to work with you, or did you want me to put someone in your place and work with them? Again, nurturing and nice. I don't want you to threaten anybody. I don't want you to put a gun to anybody's head. It's just the facts of life. They are the facts of relationship marketing. You can only work with people that are doing the things that you know will make them successful. This is so critical to get these promises, to get this information from them, and to get them to commit. If they won't commit to these things, you don't have someone you can work with. If they do, you're going to have a successful person. And imagine that you now, out of those 25 people, you sponsor 3 to 5 people for them. And then, of course, what are we going to do, class? We're going to take those people here and we're going to do the same process with them as we work our way down. So what we're going to do is now we're going to talk about exactly how to make that 3-way call in the next video.